Alyth was the venue for the 2026 Foundations Trophy, and while it may not be the longest course, its tight tree-lined fairways are a tough test for golfers of all abilities, and it was in fine condition for the first week in May. Melissa Key was leading the way in the girls' competition, heading into the final round with a commanding lead, but with Wagger points available, there was still plenty for the other golfers to play for. Isabella Donnelly from Carnoustie would eventually claim the runner-up spot, helped by holing out to save par here on the tricky par 3 third. A testing hole with an uphill tee shot, trees hanging over on the right. What could our leader do? Well, many would miss the green from the tee, but not Melissa Key. She'd been under par for both her opening rounds, but hadn't scored so well in the morning on the final day in her third round, so she was out for revenge on the course in round 4. A par here for the golfer from Paisley's Ralston Golf Club. Up to the 5th, where Summers G had played a nice approach from over the left hand side of the fairway. She was fighting for a top 3 finish, and she would get it, tied third at the end of the action. Last year's Stephen Gallacher Foundation Under-13 champion Annie Pennycook was a little bit more wayward coming down to 6th, but hit this smart chip onto the green on her way to finishing the tournament in 5th place. A bright future ahead for the young golfer representing the St Regulus Club in St Andrews. Perhaps the best action of the day was at the par 3 7th, where Melissa Key hit this tee shot to no more than 3 feet away. Marvellous stuff. Playing alongside her was Katie McKenzie from Gullen. Now don't take your eyes off this one. Very nearly with a slam dunk, hole in one, but it rebounded off the pin cruelly, and it was only Melissa who would manage a birdie. Katie would hit another impressive tee shot at the much longer par 3 17th, a hole that she'd birdied in her morning round. But as at the 7th, she would have to settle for a par. Melissa Kay had a longer birdie attempt, but that too would stay out, and she would par 17 before hitting an absolute monster of a drive on the final hole. She had saved the best of her scoring for the final round and had a chance to shoot a tournament best 5 under par 66 if she could convert her putt for a birdie 3. She was miles ahead of her opposition but couldn't quite finish in style. But a 67 was still the best round of the week for the girls and would seal the victory and a chance to take home the latest magnificent trophy designed for the foundation by Scott Irvin. Well played, Melissa. And so to the boys, where Nathan Tate would start the final round with a 3-shot lead. One of the golfers, who was only 3 shots behind, was Oliver Robertson from D-side. Not holding back and attempting to close the gap, this was his tee shot at the third. A little aggressive, but he would get up and down for his par to keep the pressure on. Playing partner Dan Shure would also get his par here at the third, before making the cameraman regret his choice of location by eagling the very next hole with a 2 on the 360-yard par 4 fourth. Nathan Tate had started with a bogey and a birdie before stepping onto the third, where this tee shot would lead to his first par of the round. Disappointed not to get the birdie. Up ahead at 6, now, where Eddie Jackson from Turnhouse was having a real up and down round, illustrated here by a nice chip up to an awkward pin placement, which was followed by a missed putt. He would start to score better on the back 9 though, to stay close to the top of the leaderboard. At the 7th, Nathan Tate hit an excellent tee shot that very nearly spun back into the hole. His approach play was excellent, However, not quite enough putts were dropping to pull comfortably clear. Playing partner Cold Stewart from Carnoustie would almost match our leader's accuracy, just a little short with his tee shot, and both would have to settle for par 3s. Dan Shure wasn't being quite so accurate from the tee here, at 12 playing his approach from the 13th fairway, but a tidy shot through the trees would help him towards finishing tied for 6th place. Nice wave to the camera. Also tied 6th at the end of the tournament was Evan Walker. He could have had 6th to himself if he hadn't got a bogey here at 16 and managed to sink his putt. Still a good week for both golfers though. Back at 12 now, and Oliver Robertson was holding his nerve after wandering his way down the 12th, par 4, holing out for par, that was, and staying within 2 shots at the time of leader Nathan Tate, keeping alive his hopes for a victory. Out in the group behind, Oliver Henderson had drifted off the lead after his opening round of 69, but did enough to secure a top 10 finish, tied in 8th place. Playing partner Eddie Jackson's rollercoaster round was still going. Chance for another birdie, but this would only be his 4th par of the round after 12 holes. Still just about within touching distance. Out behind, our leader would hit yet another nice approach, where the following putt would stay out the hole once again, keeping his lead intact with a par, but slender. Playing partner Jason Inkwell-Reid had driven just over 300 yards into the greenside bunker, and he too would get a par after this shot out of the sand. But another big drive onto the green at the next hole, all 326 yards of it, would give him an outside chance for eagle to climb the leaderboard. He would have to settle for a birdie though, on his way to finishing in 4th place. Oliver Robertson needed a spectacular finish now if he wanted to catch Nathan Tate, but he wouldn't be able to convert for birdie after this chip on here at 16, and despite an eagle at the last, it was too little too late. A very tidy 2 under total would see him finish in 2nd place though. Eddie Jackson would birdie 16 after this bunker shot, and he would end the tournament in 3rd place at 3 over par. And so to the last, where Cold Stewart would survive a trip to the trees, with this shot onto the front of the green. Not the final round he was looking for, but 2 putts for a par, and he would claim 5th place. So as the crowds watched on, Nathan Tate had hit a fantastic long drive to the edge of the green on the 356 yard closing hole, but would he finally hole a putt on camera for a birdie? If he did, it would be his 6th of his final round, and surely a fitting way to close out the win. Nicely done. And with that, he would tie Oliver Robertson's best round of the tournament with a 3 under par 67 and a 3-shot winning margin. And after some well-deserved handshakes from friends and family, we caught up with Nathan to get his thoughts on that final round.
There was a couple of putts missed, but other than that I hit most fairways, most greens. It was pretty stress-free tee green, but putting was a bit ropey, but oh well.
A well-deserved victory early in the season, as the Stephen Gallacher Foundation tournament calendar continues to go from strength to strength, something all the golfers appreciate.
Such a good opportunity for us to play, to get Wagger, and they're just such well-run events, and yeah, they're really good.
Congratulations to Nathan Tate and Melissa Kay for their victories, and thanks again to Alyth for being a fantastic venue.